Hello and welcome. I'm Noah Spataro, COO of Entropya AG, a Swiss headquartered cyber resilience company. Today, we're going to have a candid conversation about the state of cybersecurity. What's failing, why it's failing, and what we can do about it. This isn't meant to be a pitch, it's a call to rethink the very foundation of how we protect our digital world. Entropya believes in the privacy and digital sovereignty Swiss law protects, and we use it to fuel a fundamentally different approach to empower you and your successes. We have global reach and secure regional supply chains to meet your needs and at scale. Central to who we are is transacting with standards, compliance, and trust, protecting the systems and data that are the lifeblood of what makes your business profitable. Our leading grade security solutions are designed by expert trackers and hackers, people who know how attackers think because they've been in the fight at the national level against these folks. We make your systems undefindable. Nothing to scan, map, or exploit. Every connection is authenticated and camouflaged. We use quantum secure cryptography that we've deployed operationally in environments just like yours. We don't just protect data, we simplify risk itself. Our environment dramatically reduces the workload on your cybersecurity teams, gives you actionable insights, and works across any infrastructure and endpoint, no matter how complex. Let's begin the discussion with the tools most organizations still rely on: firewalls and VPNs. These were built for a time when networks were centralized and threats were slower. Today, they're struggling to keep up. Firewalls assume you can define a perimeter. VPNs assume you can trust your connections. But in a world of remote work, cloud sprawl, and AI-empowered attacks, those assumptions are no longer true. These tools expose metadata, rely on static configurations, and often become the very entry point attackers exploit. They're not failing because they're bad, they're failing because the battle has changed. And it's not just firewalls and VPNs. The broader foundation of traditional cybersecurity is showing cracks. Traditional cybersecurity is built on visibility, monitoring, logging, and scanning. But visibility is a double-edged sword. If you can see it, so can attackers. They use reconnaissance tools to map your environment. They identify IPs, open ports, and software versions. Then they engineer attacks layer by layer. This is why reactive security fails. It assumes you'll catch them in the act. But by the time you do, they've already moved laterally, escalated privileges, and exfiltrated your critical data. Visibility equals vulnerability, and that's the flaw in the foundation. Attackers are moving faster than ever. Cybercrime is now projected to become the third largest global economy. That's not hyperbole, it's a reflection of how profitable and scalable these attacks have become. AI is accelerating this shift. Threat actors use automation to scan, probe, and exploit vulnerabilities at scale. They don't need to be sophisticated, they just need to be quieter and faster than you. Meanwhile, defenders are stuck reacting, overwhelmed by alerts and blind spots. The cost of breaches is rising, and the time to detect them is still measured in months. This is not a technology gap, it's a mindset gap. Let's take a closer look at how these escalating threats are playing out in the real world. Earlier this year, Fortinet disclosed a critical zero-day vulnerability that allowed attackers to bypass authentication and gain super admin access. And this was to the FortiOS and FortiProxy systems. The exploit was used to create rogue admin accounts, modify firewall policies, and establish VPN tunnels, giving attackers deep, persistent access to internal networks. This wasn't a possibility, it was active, targeted, and quietly unfolding across multiple organizations. The vulnerability affected widely deployed systems, and the attackers moved in phases, scanning, probing, and then escalating their access. Fortinet released emergency patches and indicators of compromise, but by then the damage had already been done in many environments. And Fortinet wasn't alone. Just months earlier, Avanti faced a wave of zero-day attacks targeting its Connect Secure and Policy Secure gateways. These weren't single flaws, they were chain vulnerabilities that allowed attackers to bypass authentication, execute commands, and implant web shells. Even more concerning, Avanti's own detection tools failed to identify the breaches. Organizations were compromised without even knowing it. The attackers harvested credentials, moved laterally, and in some cases maintained root-level access for weeks. These incidents weren't caused by negligence, they were caused by exposure. Systems that were visible, accessible, and ultimately exploitable. And that's the point. These are the tools that we are told to trust. They're the tools we have. Firewalls, VPNs, secure gateways. But when they're visible, they become targets. And when they're targeted, they become liabilities. So the question is, are your systems built to react? And are you dependent on systems like these as these types of attacks continue? Traditional security architectures are reactive, defending what's visible using the normal rules of the internet's design. They build layers of protection around known infrastructure, hoping to detect or delay an attacker before damage is done. But the reality is, attackers understand, evolve, and successfully evade detection. They have time on their side. So if your systems can be found, they can be mapped in stages layer by layer, and then exploited at a time of a threat actor's choosing. So what's the alternative? We choose proactive security. This is where Entropya changes the rules of the game. Instead of hoping and waiting to detect and defend against the next attack, Entropya removes the entrance and pathways attackers rely on to get to you. This means making your system structurally concealed. It's a transition from complicated defense coordination that imposes a deterrent time-consuming cost on the attacker. Frameworks like MITRE ATT&CK show us how attackers think, but instead of responding to each tactic across the framework, we choose to eliminate the start line altogether. Without the ability to conduct reconnaissance on you and your systems, threats need to first find the needle in the stack of identical needles to start their attack journey. This is the power of proactive design. Inspired by military doctrine, digital camouflage applies cover and concealment to cyberspace. Instead of hardening systems after they're found, we make them unfindable from the beginning. No persistent IPs, no exposed ports, no metadata breadcrumbs, just dynamic, short-duration pathways that adapt to threats. This isn't just a tactic, it's a strategic advantage. It can lower operational expenses, reduce exposure, and simultaneously simplify security. It's how we build resilience into the fabric of your transport-dependent operations. This approach scales globally, whether you're securing a remote workforce, a multinational enterprise, or critical infrastructure. Hyper-resilience is essential. This is how we build trust across borders, industries, and technologies. It's not just about protecting data, it's about protecting operations, reputations, lives, and livelihoods. Whether you're operating in the cloud, on bare metal hardware, across fiber, cellular, or space-enabled networks, you must be able to proactively adapt. Resilience is not just multipath, but every path, all the time. It's fast, flexible, and future-proof. So here we are, enter the Entropya encrypted network. Let's talk about what makes this design fundamentally different from anything else on the market today. Entropya's software-defined, infrastructure-agnostic transport makes your systems untraceable. Without sacrificing performance or compatibility, you shouldn't have to choose performance over security. Here's how it works. First, it removes digital fingerprints. No exposed ports, no persistent IPs, no records to give you away. Then it routes traffic through randomized, one-way, and rapidly expiring tunnels that are dynamically authenticated and quantum hardened. And finally, it wraps everything in a zero-trust authentication kit that verifies every connection, every time. Assume someone's inside trying to watch. That's our start point. Authenticate every connection continuously and contextually. This isn't just about camouflage and concealment, it's about removing the map entirely. Entropya Encrypted Network doesn't just encrypt your data, it makes your infrastructure disappear. And it does all of this while maintaining ultra-low latency and seamless integration with your existing systems, the things you have today. This is what proactive cybersecurity looks like. Not just offense, but deterrence. Not just encryption, but camouflage. Not just secure, but unfindable. Our leading grade security is built on 3 foundational actions for resilience in every layer. Hide. Remove digital footprints that associate your start point and your destinations, and then erase your fingerprints of the things you touched along the way. Harden. Make state-of-the-art cryptography state of practice for future-proof protection against the most advanced threats, including emergent AI. Verify. This isn't just a design framework, it's a philosophy. It changes how we think about exposure, trust, and control. It's not about building taller walls, it's about taking your castle off the map altogether. If you're ready to rethink your foundation, save on costly security complexity, improve your operational efficiencies, amplify your decisional data that drives your company's bottom line, the things that make you profitable. And if you're ready to cut your risk, we'd love to hear your story. Entropya transforms your costly, complex, and reactive defenses into future-proof ecosystems. We can rapidly evaluate your architecture and challenges to provide actionable insights. Reach out direct or through our contact page at entropya.com. And please take a quick look at our thought-provoking resources page. We've put a lot of time into it and believe that you'll find it valuable. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks again for joining. And please leave any comments or thoughts in the comments section.